Whether you got his comedy or not, he was always someone that people could laugh at, laugh with, and agree on the strange coincidences of life that kind of showcase his time on this earth. Richard Lewis, one of the big comedians who got his big break on the Tonight Show in the last golden era under Johnny Carson, has passed away from a heart attack at age 73. Now, the idea about 76. The idea about Richard Lewis, his comedy wasn't for everybody because he could have been like the only Saturday Night Live style comedian never to be a cast member on the show. He came to prominence in the 1980s and became known for his dark, neurotic, and self-deprecating humor. As an actor, he is best known for having co-starred with Jamie Lee Curtis in the hit sitcom Anything But Love, for playing the role of Prince John in the Mel Brooks movie Robin Hood Men in Tights, and his recurring role as a semi-fictionalized version of himself in HBO's Curb Your Enthusiasm. Now, born in Brooklyn, June 29, 1947, and raised in Englewood, New Jersey. Born into a Jewish family, but he was not especially religious. His father, Bill, who died in 1971, was co-owner of the Ambassador Caterers in nearby Teaneck, New Jersey. And his mother, Blanche, was an actress in community theater. He was the youngest of three siblings. His brother was older than him by 6 years, and his sister by 9. Lewis's father's catering business kept his father very busy, and his siblings had both left home by the 60s, leaving Lewis at home with his mother, with whom he did not get along. Lewis told the Washington Post in 2014 that he had suspected that his birth had been a mistake. Now, Lewis was best known for being the class clown in high school and also for causing trouble in school. He graduated from Dwight Morrow High School in 1965 and attended Ohio State, where he attained a degree in marketing. Now, he's first tried standout at an open mic event in Greenwich Village in 1971, and for the past 53 years, he's been pretty well, not say the last prince, but one of the last kings of that type of observational comedy. He began writing and regularly performing stand-up comedy in 1972 while working as a copywriter for an advertising agency by day. He was eventually discovered by comedian David Brenner while performing in Greenwich Village. Brenner helped Lewis's career by introducing him to the comedy clubs in LA and getting Lewis his first appearance on The Tonight Show. By the mid-70s, he appeared on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson numerous times, and publications such as the New York Daily News and New York Magazine were naming him as one of the new breed or class of comedians, along with Robert Klein, Elaine Tomlin, Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Andy Kaufman, Richard Belzer, and Elaine Boozler. His influences were diverse, including Buster Keaton, Woody Allen, Lenny Bruce, and Richard Pryor. Now, best known for his dark comedy, self-deprecation, and for frank discussions of his many neuroses, as well as his struggles with alcoholism and drug addiction, and of course his very bouffant hair. He was known for wearing all black attire and for pacing and gesticulating wildly during his stand-up act. In his early days, he was also known for bringing taped together sheets from a legal pad to his performances that he would lay across the floor in front of him to remind him of joke premises and topics he wished to cover during his performance. Now, he made his acting debut in The Diary of a Young Comic, a 90-minute film that aired on NBC in 1979 in a time slot normally reserved for episodes of Saturday Night Live. A satirical look at the Hollywood scene, Lewis stars in the film as Billy Gondola, born Gondelstein, a young Jewish comedian who leaves New York to find fame in L.A. The film's script was co-written by Lewis and Bennett Tramer. It was adapted from a story written by Gary Weiss, who also served as the film's director. The film features Bill Macy as Billy's father, Michael Lerner as his agent, and Stacy Keach as a landlord. Performers George Jessel, Dom DeLuise, Neil Van Palant, and Gary Muldeer make appearances in the film as themselves. Now, he gained much wider exposure in the 80s and 90s with numerous appearances on talk shows such as The Tonight Show, both Late Night and The Late Show with David Letterman, and Howard Stern. He also produced the comedy specials I'm a Pain, which aired on Showtime in 85, followed by I'm Exhausted, I'm Doomed, and Richard Lewis, The Magical Misery Tour, which all aired on HBO in 88, 90, and 97. From 88 to 92, he co-starred again with Jamie Lee Curtis on the sitcom Anything But Love. He also starred in the short-lived sitcoms Daddy Dearest with Don Rickles in 93 and Hiller and Deller with Kevin Nealon in 98. Again, he played Prince John in Mel Brooks' 92 film farce Robin Hood Men in Tights and starred as a struggling alcoholic and drug addict in the 95 drama film Drunks. a film that also featured performances from Faye Dunaway, George Martin, Parker Posey, Howard Rollins, Spalding Gray, and Diane Weiss, and was based on Gary Lennon's play Blackout. Lewis also appeared in the 95 drama film Leaving Las Vegas and the 97 romantic comedy Hugo Pool. Into the 2000s, he had recurring roles as a B-movie producer on the sitcom Rude Awakening and as Rabbi Richard Glass in the family drama series Seven Heaven. Lewis also had a recurring role on the sitcom Curb Your Enthusiasm as Richard Lewis, again a semi-autobiographical version of himself. He first met the show's star and co-creator Larry David at a summer camp in Cornwall and Hudson, New York, when they were 12 years old, and Lewis claimed that at the time they hated each other. The two comedians also happened to be born 3 days apart in the same hospital. The pair met again over a decade later while performing stand-up in New York, became friends, and the rest is history. Now, GQ magazine included Lewis on their list of the 20th century's most influential humorists, and Lewis was ranked number 45 on Comedy Central's list of the 100 greatest stand-ups of all time, released in 2004. Now, in 2006, the Yale Book of Quotations included an entry for the expression "the blank from hell," as in the night from hell, the date from hell, etc., that was attributed to Lewis. Lewis also petitioned the editors of Bartlett's Familiar Quotations to include the idiom, which was also worked into the plot of Curb Your Enthusiasm during the episode The Nanny from Hell. Because before that, people didn't say the night from hell, or the date from hell, or the meal from hell. He pretty well popularized that. Because when you thought like neuroses, with the hand movements in the face, was Richard Lewis. Now, Lewis's lawyer did send some videotapes of Lewis using the phrase to Bartlett's general editor, Justin Kaplan. Bartlett's declined, stating that the expression had predated Lewis's first day broadcast. In response, Lewis told Entertainment Weekly that he traces popular uses of the line back to his early days on David Letterman's show, and seems like he was plagiarized by somebody, and he claimed it for himself. Now, Lewis met Joyce Lipinski in '98 at a Ringo Starr album release party, while Lipinski was working in music publishing. The pair were engaged in 2004 and married the following year. Now, discussions of Lewis's battles with anxiety and depression and his multiple therapy sessions were a fixture of his comedy. He also stated in the interviews that he suffered from an eating disorder due to body dysmorphia. Now, he was open about his recovery from alcohol and drug abuse, having been a user of both cocaine and crystal meth. His addictions worsened into the 90s, prompting Lewis to stop performing stand-up from 91 to 94. In a 95 interview with the Santa Maria Times, Lewis discussed how John Candy's death in 94 caused him to reflect upon his own life and career. The two had starred together in Candy's last film, the Western-themed comedy film Wagon's Ease. In later interviews, Lewis stated that he got sober in 94 after winding up in a hospital emergency room due to a cocaine overdose. Now, he published his very popular memoir in 2000 titled The Other Great Depression. The book was reissued in 2008 with an added afterwards where Lewis reflected further on his continued struggles with addiction. In 2015, he followed this up with the book Reflections on Hell, Richard Lewis's Guide on How Not to Live, which contains Lewis's commentary and observations in the form of one-liners and other comedic premises, interspersed with images created by artist Carl Nicholas Titolo. Now, Lewis had struggled with health issues resulting in multiple surgeries. In 2016, he shattered his right hand after falling from a roof, and in 2019, he had back surgery related to acute back pain, and in early 2020, he shattered his shoulder, resulting in yet another surgery. In 2020, it was revealed that Lewis had endured great pain during shooting of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and in 2021, he announced that he will only be returning for one episode of the 11th season. Lewis did return in the show's 12th and final season. Now, in April 2023, Lewis announced he had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease 2 years earlier. He said he would no longer perform stand-up comedy and was instead focused on writing and acting. Now, following this battle from Parkinson's, his health declined and he passed away of a massive heart attack on February 27, 2024, again at age 76. Now, numerous friends and colleagues have made statements regarding Lewis's death. HBO said in a release on Wednesday, February 28, "We're heartbroken to learn that Richard Lewis has passed away. His comedic brilliance, wit, and talent were unmatched." Curb Your Enthusiasm co-star Cheryl Hines said, "Through the years, I learned who Richard really was and the gifts he gave. Yes, he was the comedian I fell in love with, but he was also one of the most loving people I know. He would take time to tell people he loved what they meant to him, especially in recent years. Now, in a statement shared with NBC, Larry David said he will never forgive Lewis for making him cry upon learning of his friend's death. David, the creator of Curb Your Enthusiasm and friend of Lewis, goes on to say, Richard and I were born 3 days apart in the same hospital, and for most of my life he's been like a brother to me. He had that rare combination of being the funniest person and also the sweetest, David said. But today he made me sob, and for that I will never forgive him. So, film roles, again, premiered on something called The Wrong Guys. He played himself in 88. That's Adequate, Once Upon a Crime, Robin Hood Men in Tights, playing Prince John, Wagons East, Drunks, Leaving Las Vegas, The Elevator, Hugo Pool, The Mask, Game Day, Sledge, The Untold Story, Vamps, She's Funny That Way, Stanley Wexter in The Great Buster Celebration, playing himself. On TV, just for laughs in Quebec, different performances, but here's the major television stuff. Tonight Show, over a period of 18 years, he appeared 22 times. Diary of a Young Comic in 77. House Calls. Late Night with David Letterman, we appeared 44 times. Temporary Insanity, Riptide, Harry, CBS Summer Playhouse, Tattingers, Anything But Love, were 56 episodes with Jamie Lee. The Danger of Love, Daddy Dears, Tribeca. The Larry Sanders Show, where he played himself. Late Show with David Letterman, himself 9 times. Tales from the Crypt. Late Night with Conan O'Brien, 12 episodes. AJ's Time Travelers, where he played Edgar Allan Poe. A Weekend in the Country, Nicholas and May, Take 2. The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, where he appeared 16 times. Happily Ever After Fairy Tales for Every Child. Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist, where he played Richard himself. Hiller and Diller, Rude Awakening, Hercules, VIP. Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Pilot. Dan himself, 40 episodes between 2000 and 2024. Presidio Med, Seventh Heaven, played Rabbi Glass, 9 episodes. Alias, 2.5 Men. The Dead Zone, Las Vegas, George Lopez. The Simpsons, where he played Gollum in Treehouse of Horror. Everybody That Hates Chris. Mr. Warmth, The Don Rickles Project, Law and Order Special Victims Unit. The Cleaner, Funny or Die Presents, Till Death. Lewis on Film, The Oscar Edition. Pond Puppies. Mel Brooks Make Some Noise, the PBS documentary. Blunt Talk, Cold Black, and BoJack Horseman. Now, in 1989, he was nominated for a Cable Ace Award for writing in a comedy special. Viewers for Quality Television got a nomination for Best Actor in a Quality Series. And 2006, Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Ensemble. He never, like I said, he never made a major Emmy nomination or whatever. But Richard Lewis, again, ladies and gentlemen, it's all a matter of perspective. What would comedy be like he was a 1980s comedian, a 1990s comedian, and a 1970s. And observational comedy is this. When comedians talk about their personal pain, there's a reason, because they're their own therapists. And when I watch Richard Lewis, and I'm thinking Bill Hicks and Andrew Dice Clay and Sam Kinison, there was different levels on the observational humor. He was never really an observational comedian like George Carlin. He would be introspective. And I never saw him in concert, but I really appreciated him. It was almost like he was a Canadian with caught in the States. Like most Jewish comedians, he was a self-hater, but a self-hater that would pay off. And I think what he did in his career, literally he was playing himself for his whole career. He made tons of money of it because there's only one Richard Lewis. Nobody could even attempt to do a coherent impersonation of him because, he was like part of the last great Jewish comedian. You look at Rodney Dangerfield being the grandfather, he's the nephew. And what's interesting about this, he was he wasn't like sexual in any way. He would never kind of disparage women to a level or, that some comedians do. What you see is what you got, and he could talk about one issue for 30 minutes and always something that you would learn from him. Every time he performed, we really appreciated his style. So Richard will be missed. And when you get to that big mic in heaven, just remember, you open quick and you end quick. Give them wanting more. And take your bows because the world is not as funny today as it was yesterday because Richard has left this plane. We're going to miss you, brother. If you like what we're doing here with our entertainment tributes to various creators and presenters and people. Let us know what to like, comment, subscribe, or share. But Richard Lewis, my God, man, you will be part of our comedy lexicon for years to come. Have a good one, and don't forget, requests on the channel are greatly appreciated and always highly considered.